Hello and welcome back to the LoBo Designs channel. This is Heather Lynn, owner of LoBo Designs, here today with an Adobe Illustrator tutorial on how to make a Christmas ornament with a photo inside. So there's going to be a lot jam-packed into this tutorial because I'm going to have to go over some of the Pathfinder tools. I'm going to show you how to do a clipping mask, how to rasterize a photo, how to create the boxes that are around the frame itself, and then I'm actually also going to show you how to take this outside frame here and split it at a mitered corner so that you can reduce the space that you need on your sheet when you're cutting. So instead of needing to cut this giant box out of one sheet, we can split it at these corners, minimize it so that it's just 4 small pieces that we can layer down to reduce it from cutting this giant 4-inch square down to maybe only cutting just the bottom half of this in 1, 2, 3, 4 straight lines, if that makes sense. So like I said, there's going to be a lot jam-packed into this tutorial. I'm going to give you as many shortcuts, tips, tricks, hacks as I can as we go. Please feel free to follow along, pause where you need it, work at your own speed, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I will get back to you as soon as possible. So let's dive in. Starting with a blank document in Adobe Illustrator, I am working with a 12 by 20 inch document because that is the size of the sheets that I'm working with for my laser. If you are a Glowforge user, please note that your document size, your sheet size, may be 12 by 20 inches. Your working area for your machine is 10.9 inches high by 19.2 inches wide. So if you are working with a 12 by 20 inch artboard, please keep in mind that you would like to keep your design within 10.9 by 19.2, or else you won't be able to cut it in one job on your sheets. So that's just a side note for our Glowforge users. I am an Aeon Laser USA Mira 990 watt owner these days. I used to have a Glowforge Pro. I don't have one anymore. For those of you that follow me in the feeds, you know why. For those that don't, I love my Mira. So we're starting in a blank document, and what we're going to do first is build the components of the ornament. So I'm going to show you how to build the boxes, the frame, the hole for the ribbon, and then we'll add the photo in the next step. So I am using the shape tool, which is known as the rectangle tool. It is also M as in mark on your keyboard. I'm clicking anywhere on the canvas. I'm going to create a box that is 4 inches by 4 inches because that is the size that I want for my ornament. If you have this little box checked off, it will make this symmetrical. If it's not checked off, you can make a rectangle. So basically square versus rectangle. 4 by 4, click OK, there's your box. I'm going to switch this to black over here, fill black, and then I'm going to switch it from fill to stroke, which I can do over here if you can see my mouse, this little arrow here, or you can hit Shift+X on your keyboard to swap it from stroke to fill. I'm also going to change the stroke to red because that is what I use for my cut paths. This is going to be the outside of my ornament. This is also going to be what I'm using for my clipping mask later, so I'm going to make a duplicate copy of this and put it off to the side. Holding down Shift Option on my keyboard, I'm sorry, I don't even need Shift, just Option, holding down Option, clicking and dragging on my keyboard, creating a second copy. I believe on a Windows machine, it is hold down Alt and drag for a second copy. Don't quote me on that. But holding down Option on a Mac and clicking and dragging will make a duplicate copy. Save this over here. For now, don't pay any attention to it. So this is the outside of our ornament. I'm going to create a second one that's going to be the inside of our ornament, which I'm going to do at 3.5 inches wide. So again, M on your keyboard, M as in mark, click anywhere. I'm gonna make this one 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches, click OK. V key, V as in Victor on your keyboard, or up here, which is the selection tool. I'm going to click and drag, select both of these, and I'm going to align vertically and align horizontally. I'm up here in the align panel, middle, middle. Makes these centered, and then while they're both selected into the Pathfinder tool, you're going to click minus front right here, which is the empty square in front of the solid square, and there's your frame. So this is going to be the frame for the photo ornament. We're also going to use this for the clipping mask, and then I'm going to make one more copy of this back part, holding down Option for the backer. So this is the backer, this is the frame, this is the shape we'll be using to clip our photo. And then in the next step, I'm going to create the hole for the ribbon You can make yours smaller if you'd like. I make mine a little bit larger because I use chunky ribbon or burlap ribbon, and fitting it through those tiny little holes with all of that fabric is nuts. So I make mine a little bit larger. If you're going to be using just plain wire hooks, you'll definitely want to make it smaller, but this is what I use. Using the Ellipse Tool, L on your keyboard, L for Logan, I create a circle that is 0.6 by 0.6 so that it's a perfect circle, and then I create a second circle that is 0.3 by 0.3. And what I'm doing here is like I said, I'm using the Ellipse Tool, which over here is the circle. If you can't see it, it's in your shape builder or shape. I don't know if these are called shape builder tools, but shape tools. It's this one, or like I said, it's L as in Logan on your keyboard. Clicking anywhere on your artboard will bring up the box for the shapes. You just enter the measurements and then click OK. So I created one that is 0.6, one that is 0.3 using the V as in Victor, or the direct selection tool up here top left on your menu, selecting both of these circles, horizontally and vertically aligning these in the align panel so that they're centered. And then while they're still selected, same thing we did for the frame, we're going to do minus front. So now we have the hole that we need for our ribbon, we have the backer that we need, we have the frame that we need, and then what we'll do in the next step is we will import the photo, do the clipping mask, rasterize the photo, and then I'll show you how to put everything together. So our next step is to import the photo. So what I do for this is I do Ctrl+Shift+P, P as in Paul on my keyboard, Ctrl+Shift+P, or File Place, Command-Shift-P, I believe it's Ctrl+Shift+P on a Windows PC. So Command-Shift-P, I'm going to navigate to where I have my photo saved. Then clicking anywhere on your artboard, I'm going to drag out a little bit because this is a large photo. Clicking anywhere on your artboard will place this where you need it. Holding down the Shift key on your keyboard, clicking and dragging will make this smaller to scale so that it doesn't warp. And then zooming back in. I'm holding down Option and scrolling with my mouse to zoom in and out. You can also hold down Command or Control and use the plus or minus keys on your keyboard if you don't have a scroll on your mouse. Like I said, I prefer to use Option and scroll, it's faster, but I know it's probably making you a little bit dizzy, I apologize. So I am going to do the clipping mask first. So this is the photo that I'm using. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, again, holding down Shift. I'm going to place this in front. So this red line, see how it's falling in the back here? I want to see it on top so that I can see where it looks as a frame basically. So I'm going to bring it forward by right clicking, going to Arrange, Bring to Front, or you can also do Command Shift and then this bracket, which is what I use. Shocker, I use the hotkey. So I'm going to grab this, I'm going to bring it forward so we can see it a little bit more. Place it over and then see where I want him to fall in that. So again, holding down Shift, I'm just making Logan's face a little bit bigger. This is LoBo. This is my boy. He's 3 years old and he's my favorite person on the earth. That looks like it's going to be good. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is V key on your keyboard, V as in Victor again, direct selection tool, selecting both of these, picture and frame. You want to make a copy of this first though, I almost forgot. So select your frame. Just the frame, not the photo. Command C if you're on a Windows, Control C, or edit copy, make a copy of this frame because you need it, you're about to lose it. So you have a copy of that, don't move anything. Select both of these with your selection tool, back to the selection tool, V key on your keyboard. I hop around from tool to tool often. You probably know that by now if you watch my tutorial. So V key on your keyboard, we have both of these selected. We are going to do a clipping mask by hitting Command 7 or Control 7 on your keyboard. Command 7, Control 7. I would show you the menu up here, but I don't know where it is. Sorry. Command 7, and here we go. Before you do anything, don't move a thing on your artboard at all. You are still holding a copy of that outline. We need to put it back. So Command F or Control F, F as in Frank, F as in front. Command F brings it back to where it belongs. So now we have the frame. We have Logan, trimmed down to size. We have the backer, which technically we're not going to need because we just put that back. So I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need it. We're going to weld this to this eventually. But first, anytime you do a clipping mask in Adobe Illustrator or another program, you need to rasterize it or else your laser software will not recognize it. So Lightburn right now still sees this full picture. Do you see the full frame? So going into outline view, you see how the full frame still shows? We need to get rid of this full frame by rasterizing. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click on Logan. We're going to go up into the object panel to rasterize. This is what I use for rasterizing. These are my standards. I don't know if there is a better way that I should be using. If there is, just tell me in the comments, but this is what I use for my defaults. If everything matches on your screen, click OK. Logan has now been rasterized and that line is gone. So we have Logan, we have the outline, which is your backer. We now have your frame, and we need to put this ribbon where it belongs. So we're going to bring this ribbon up here. I want to center it. So I'm going to select just the outline. Let's make sure I don't have Logan selected. I'm going to show you a trick that I use a lot. Logan I have selected right now. Command 2, I believe it's Control 2 on your keyboard, will lock Logan in place so I can't pick him. Like I'm clicking, dragging, whatever. He won't move. He's locked. I'm going to leave him there for 1 second. I'm just going to select just the outline and the circle, and I'm going to center. Oh, forgot to click again. I don't want this outline to move, so let's just rewind so you didn't lose me there. I'm selecting just this outline and just this circle. I'm then clicking once more on this outline, which is telling Adobe Illustrator, don't move this piece. I want everything to center to just this piece. Keep this piece in place and move this circle over. So I'm going to center that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see. I'm going to click on this circle, and holding down Shift, I'm just going to bring this down to where I need it. Holding down Shift will keep it in place. See that straight line? So let's just put it right there. Again, Logan's photo is still locked, so I don't have any concern about selecting both of these. So now I have the outline selected, I have the whole selected, and I'm going to go over the Pathfinder and I'm going to click Unite. And then I'm going to unlock Logan's photo by holding down Option Command 2. I believe it's Shift Control 2 on a Windows. Again, please don't quote me. Hotkeys are not my thing on Windows. I don't know them. I don't use Windows PCs for anything design-wise. I use a Windows PC all day, every day for my full-time job, but never for designing. So I don't know the hotkeys for them, but that's a quick shortcut that I use if I'd want to just keep this there. Don't bother me. Don't let me accidentally move it. Lock it where it belongs, and then give it back to me when I need it. So now we have Logan's picture. We have the outline. And we have our frame. So technically right now what you could do is you could drop this file as it is right into Lightburn. You could export it as or save it as an SVG, drop it into the GFUI. Or you could take this frame and split it into parts to save yourself some time. Actually, it won't really save you some time. It's actually going to add a little bit more time because you're going to have to glue 4 separate parts, but it saves you space on your sheet so that you don't then get left over with this big block of wasted space of proof grade wood or whatever you're using, acrylic, MDF, really anything. Nobody wants to waste their material. So I'm going to show you in the next step how to split this, but if you want your frame, or if you want your ornament to look like this, you're done. Export as an SVG by going up into File. Whoa, that's not what you want to see. Now you get to see my recording software too. Yay. Go up into File, Save As, or you can do Command-Shift-S. Go into Format SVG. Click Save. And then you want to do SVG 1.0, and you want to do Image Location Embed. And then just click OK. And that'll save your SVG. You can also select this, copy, and then go into Lightburn and paste directly into Lightburn if you're using a laser that communicates with Lightburn. This is going to tell me that I need to update soon. There we go. And paste. And you can, right there, engrave your image up here, cut your lines, and you'd be good to go. But I'm going to give you one more step on how to split this into mitered corners should you want to. So we'll hop back into AI. The next step, I will show you how to split these, and then we'll be good to go. So we can split this frame a couple of ways. What I'll show you for square frames is easy because once you split this top part, it's just 4 of the same exact pieces. But if you wanted to do it for a rectangle, I'll show you that way as well, just so you can kind of get a feel for both. When I'm splitting anything with the Pathfinder the Pathfinder Divide tool, I always work in outline mode because it creates extra paths. So I'm going to hop into outline mode by going up into View Outline, or Command-Y, Ctrl+Y if you're on Windows, Command-Y if you're on a Mac. Now we're in outline mode. I'm working with just this frame. So what I'm going to do for this frame, just because I want to show you, actually I can do it both ways. So I'll just pretend that it's a square one time and I'll pretend it's a rectangle another. But to split the square, you need the line tool and then you need the divide tool. So the line tool is the / key on your keyboard, or you can go over here to the line segment tool over here if you can see where I'm at, or it's the, if you can see the / in the parentheses after line segment tool, that's your hotkey. So what you're going to do is you're going to draw a line from this corner to this corner in each spot. So 4 different lines. Like I said, for a square, you technically only have to do it for the top, but I'm going to do it on all 4 just so you can see how it would be done if this was not like a shape that has 4 equal parts, I guess. So line, click, drag, click, drag, click, drag. If you see it hovers over the anchor, so you know that it's snapping to each line. Now that you have all 4 of these all 4 of these created, so 1 line, 1 line, 1 line, 1 line, and then your full piece, you're using your V key on your keyboard, direct selection tool, select the entire thing. So you have all 4 lines plus your frame selected, and you're going to hit the divide tool, which I'm over here, if you can see my mouse. It is this tool down at the bottom underneath of the Pathfinder Unite tool. It's 2 solid shapes, but it shows that they're being almost cut out like a cookie cutter, if that makes sense. So hit divide, and then while you have everything still selected, Command-Shift+G, Ctrl+Shift+G, or over here on the right under Quick Actions, Ungroup. You just want to ungroup everything. I think you can right-click Ungroup as well. There's a bunch of ways to do it. But that basically is just going to show you that it's split it into 4 different pieces. But what you want to be always very, 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 I can't stress this enough, aware of when you're using the divide tool in Illustrator is it creates extra paths that you need to make sure that you pay attention to and get rid of. And I'll show you what that means. So now it looks like we only have this path, this path, this path, and this path, which means that we should have this path, and this one for your frames, right? But if you see, it also created this guy, and if you were not working in outline view, this is what it looks like. So a lot of people will say, I don't understand why the Glowforge user interface or why Lightburn is recognizing this extra path that I don't see. It's there. You can't see it though. You can see it in outline view because currently this shape is set to over here in your appearance panel, no stroke, no fill, which means it's basically just a ghost path. It's not good for anything. Some designers may need it for an element in their design when they use the divide. That's why it creates, but for what we're using this for, we don't need this middle shape. So we're just gonna click on it and delete it. And then what I usually do, I just make everything really close together, hold down Shift, click and drag up here. Whoop, I'm not even holding down Shift. That would help. So let's actually hold down Shift and not caps lock. We'll scroll this guy up. Why is my mouse not working? Here we go. Okay, and then we're going to select both of these. And then what I do is I hold down Shift and I rotate them so that they're together. And then I select all 4 of these. I just align them so that they're in a way that it cuts in this tiny little box like this that only takes up a little bit of space versus having to cut that big giant box that we just had. So you could do it that way, or here's another way that I do it. I'm just going to undo just to make this a little bit easier because I forgot to make a copy. We're going to zoom in. The other way that you can do these frames is if you use the line tool again. What I do is create a straight cut. I like this one better. To make a straight line, you just hold down Shift so that it knows. It'll do it at a, I think 15-degree angle. It might be a 30-degree angle. And there's a line there. And then you can, same thing over here, line tool, create a line here across, holding the Shift key so that it meets down the outside. And then again, select both of these. I'm not going to do the bottom because you get the gist, but select both of these, hit the divide tool, ungroup, and then you would have this piece this side piece, and then you would put them together versus them having diagonal cuts at the corners. They would have two smaller pieces on the right side or the left side, two smaller pieces on the top or the bottom, or you could even do your lines this way if you wanted a shorter piece up at top and bottom. You get the point. You can do whatever you want from here on out. If you can draw a line and you can use the divide tool and with the shape tools, you're set. So undo this. Let's just undo what we just did. And then I think that we're good to go. I showed you everything that you'll need to create yourself a fancy little photo ornament in just a few minutes, even though I think this tutorial is probably up to way longer than just a few minutes. But I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope it was very helpful. I tried to get as many tools in as I possibly could so that you can see that it's really not as bad as some people think it is. Sometimes with the Adobe Illustrator tools, like, you really just have to say, okay, this is how I wanted it to be. This is what I want it to look like. How do I make that happen? I'm not sure, but you know, somebody should be able to show me, right? So that's what I would say is, once you think you have something in your mind, all you need to do is think, how can I do it? And there's always a resource out there to help you. So I hope that this was helpful for you. As always, feel free to join us in the Glow Create group on Facebook for additional tips and tricks on how to use Procreate and Adobe Illustrator beyond the screen to turn your digital artwork into physical products. If you enjoyed this video and would like to be notified of future tutorials, please hit the like button and subscribe below. Until next time, this is Heather Lynn of LoBo Designs signing off. I'll holla at you later.